I think I can help that guy. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Roland TR 505 and how to program it. Here we go. The Roland TR 505 Rhythm Composer was released by Roland in 1986, and this makes sense because, as some of you know, I inherited this Tascam Porta 2 and this TAC reel-to-reel from my father of that similar era, right around the time that I was born. So I'm very fortunate for that. This drum machine is in the same line as the 909 and the 808, the 707, and the 606. It's got basic rock sounds. It's got some Latin sounds, according to Wikipedia, similar to the 707. I've never played a 707. It is a quirky instrument, quirky drum machine, and so yeah, this was probably one of my most requested videos. To just show you how to program it, because it took me a long time reading through the manual a bunch of times, so you don't have to read through the manual. But if you are watching this video right now and you're used to watching one of my videos that gets more philosophical, I'm telling you right now, this ain't one of those videos. We are just gonna sit and program the Roland TR 505. So if you are one of those consumers of philosophical content, please go to Spotify, type in Working Flakes, and go listen to the other project that I have that doesn't involve tape machines. It is psychedelic, psycho, heartland rock. There's cool stuff happening, so please go support that group. Without further ado, let's jump into the programming. Okay, the Roland TR 505. It is a cute, fun little plastic machine, and I'm just going to show you how I use it. It has MIDI functions. It's a pretty old MIDI. I tried hooking it up to a modern keyboard, and it didn't communicate correctly. And a more expert MIDI person will be able to explain the MIDI aspects of this, which I am not doing today. I am just talking about how to program the beats using these buttons and the display. So before we do that, when you turn the machine on, this is what it is. This is what the display looks like. And we have 5 modes here as we cycle through. So the first one is track play. Now that is where you pre-programmed, or you can program an entire song. So you can individually put in measures and fills, and have it be 24 measures that just cycles. Here's a quick example. That's just playing some of my previous patterns, but that's what track play is. The next mode is pattern play, which is the mode that I use the most. As you can see, this is a set of pre-programmed patterns. Yeah, it's like rock and roll. Then you just hit the next one, and it changes. It cycles through the pattern, and then it gets to the next one. So you can hit the next pattern. All of my music is performed in this way. I program the patterns first, and then I perform them like this. That's how all the made on tape music, anything I use with this machine, that is my main mode of play. Then this is a shift button. We're still going through the modes of this machine. The next mode is called track write, which is the mode where you compose the track, as mentioned at the beginning, the track play. We're not going to really be going over this today because I don't want to teach you how to program an entire track, because I don't think that's the best use of this machine anyway. The next one is the mode I use all the time, step right. Most people with drum machines are familiar with this type, and we will dive into that pretty soon. And then the next one is tap right. The difference being step right is, to me, is easier to write because the tempo is cycling, and then you just punch them in as they go, where in tap right you have to go to the beat and then program it. So we're not even going to be looking at tap right. So today, I'm just showing you how I program beats. And we will be in step right mode. But before I get to step right mode, I will talk about this switch. I obviously have hit on accident a couple of times. This is your tempo or your measure number. If you're in track mode, it's your measure number. You just toggle it. And then this is obviously how you can change the tempo. You know, right now we're at a nice funky 102. I want one. Yeah, funky 101. That's a good funky tempo. There we go. Yeah, baby. Okay. So, when you're in these different modes, these pattern groups or track numbers can mean different things. Again, in the track play, you know, you're just different entire. Think of track play mode as like an entire song. In theory, that was the intent when they made it, which is why I don't use it. Too much. Too time consuming. It's not 1986 anymore. I got shit to do. Pattern play and step right use these groups the same way. So there's A group, or you hit it again and it's D group. You got B group and E group, and C group and F group. A, B, and C on the Roland TR 505 come programmed, and you cannot change them. A, B, and C. So you can see here they're darker colored. My dad kept this in a box, so it's maintained. It's, you know, the I've seen these machines that are totally faded and sun bleached, kept out on a windowsill and all that stuff. Yellow, you know, old plastic yellow. So again, very lucky. My dad was able, you know, he takes care of things. So when you're programming, you're working in D, E, or F. Before I go further, let me play you each of the sounds of the instruments before we program this first beat. Here we go. Number 1 through 16. Got low conga, high conga, timbale, low cowbell, high cowbell, hand clap. Love that one. Crash cymbal, ride cymbal, bass drum, snare drum, low tom, mid tom, high tom, rim shot, closed hi-hat, open hi-hat. Excellent. Those are the sounds. I use a lot of effects processing when I'm using this machine, but here we are. Naked 505 sounds. I should have explained. I got into a manual mode to... If you're really crazy and you just want to play things manually, all you have to do is, when you're in pattern play, just hold shift, and this says manual play. Hit that, and now you can play the instrument. I'm gonna tell you, these buttons are not very playable. They're tough. They're programmable, but it's hard to actually play them. You know, you'll hear a lot of I use the hand clap a lot on the tracks, and you know, I can do that, but beats, much harder. Here we are in step right mode. I'm going to go into pattern group F arbitrarily, and each pattern group can hold up to 16 beats. That's what each one of these buttons can hold in a pattern group. So when you write a beat in this group on each of these individual numbers, then when you're in pattern play mode, you can easily switch between those. You can switch between pattern groups, but then you're just going to go from the number, like number 4 to number 4 on the other one. You know, you can get creative if you really, really want to get sophisticated. I don't know why you would ever need like 32 different beats for a song, but, you know, to each their own. No judgment here. That sounded very judgy. I am not judging you. If you want 32 different beats for your song, have 32 different beats for your song. Beautiful. Great. So let's hear what is on this first pattern on this, and we're in step right mode in pattern group F. Very nice. It's obviously a beat that I've programmed in the past. To get rid of that, I'm not married to my ideas. It's already been recorded anyway. we hold the clear button, and then we push this button. So now when I click start for step right, again, for step right mode, it has to be playing for you to program the beat. So let's hit start and see how it's just flashing. It's just flashing the tempo, which I can obviously raise. It's just flashing the tempo, and now you have a blank slate. You have the blank slate for recording your drum beat. I don't know what you start with, but I usually start with the kick drum or the snare. Let's start with the snare. So right now you can see it says BD, bass drum. And this little grid here, it represents each of the instruments. That's how old school this machine is. So in order to change which instrument you're programming, you hold instrument and then pick. Now see how it changes up there? See? Low cowbell, high cowbell, hand clap. So here's snare drum. Here's the snare drum. So I've chosen the snare drum. We're programming it. And right now we are in a 4/4, quarter note beat, 16th note program. I suppose I should tell you, let me do this and then we'll go back to that. That's your backbeat. Now let's add some bass drum. So now I've got bass drum, put it on beats 1 and beats 3. There. And I added a kick drum, I had to make it slightly funky. And instruments, let's add some hi-hats. Look how quick and easy that was. So that's how you record a very, very basic beat with the TR-505. Now let's talk about scale. Now this is what you can do as a musician. I use this a lot. It took me a minute to even, here. So you have 4 options up here. Check out these little quarter notes. So you have these quarter notes. So right now we're in like a 16th note scale. Here you're in half notes with 30-second notes. So why would you ever do this? Well, you'll see that you can program. If you program this one in 4/4 and this one in 2/4, you can easily add a 2/4 measure to a song without thinking too hard. This is the triplets. And then I say that because you can change. Obviously, it's going up to 16, so it's like, what? 16 triplets? That makes no sense. But to make it a triplet feel, hold last step and go to 12. Look what just happened. Oh my goodness. Now there are only 12 triplets that I can program. Let me clear that beat. All right. Scale, triplets. Hold last step. 12. Okay. Start. Kick drum. Look at that. We just programmed a triplet feel. I hope I didn't go over, I hope I went over that quick enough, or not too quick. So again, we're still up here and programming just the first beat. And I was showing you scale. And this one is quarter note triplets. You can obviously go musically, you should be able to see right away why it's good to be able to program how many of the 16 there are. I think this is a pretty basic concept in programming drum machines, so I don't want to talk about this too much from a music standpoint because, again, if you do have any questions, please leave them to me in the comments. I recently did a tune that was in 7, and so I was able to do that with the scale. Again, the scale, and then controlling where the last step is. Right now, it's only up to here. Sorry, up to here. So let me change that back to all the way because I like... Let me clear that again. There we go. See how I hold clear, and then hit the pattern. All right, so we're here in this beat. We're still in beat 1. All right. Now you can easily make this a 2-bar pattern if you want by doing something called chain. So if you hold these together and hit enter, now these 2 patterns are going to be linked. And now listen. Here we're doing this one. Now it's to this one. And now you can step right the same way. You can't chain more than 2 beats together. That's the limits of this machine. So when you're in pattern play mode, if you have sequences of 2, it works the same way as if it's just 1. So basically it just adds... You can make 2-bar phrases, which I think is almost always more musical to make your drum beats a 2-bar phrase. Whether... I know I didn't say we were going to talk much about music, but like even if you're just dropping a 16th note from the hi-hat or displacing it slightly differently, I think that really opens up your music and makes it, it's never going to feel human, but it's going to be more of a interesting experience for the listener. So a lot of times, I'll be playing a beat, and then I want something, I like this beat, I like this basic beat, but I want something like it, but maybe a fill. So instead of reprogramming that exact same beat onto this one, you just go to this, you clear it, it's empty, and this is where this craziness comes in, this shift button. Now you do shift, copy, see what it says. I'm still holding shift, and then you click the beat you want to copy, which was beat 1, and you come over, hit enter. That whole time I was holding shift, but now the second pattern is the same as the first, and then I can tweak, I can give it like a double snare hit instead of a single. So like, whoops. I do that kind of stuff all the time. That really, really, really saves time. So let me show you that one more time. Again, if you want to copy this beat to here, go to that one first, hold shift, hit copy, hit the beat that you want, hit enter. Now it's been copied. That's pretty sick, bro. So cool. Okay, one of the last things I'm going to show you today is how to get little variations of volume between the instruments. That's what level is. This machine is not very sophisticated. It even has a stereo out, even though it doesn't do stereo, which is cool because you could do parallel processing with 2 outputs. I'm not dissing it, but I don't understand why. You can't pan instruments, so there's no need for stereo. It's not stereo in reality. But to get a little bit more subtlety, we can program the volume level of each instrument in a pattern group on a scale from 0 to 5. 0 being muted, 1 being the quietest, 5 being the loudest. So let me demonstrate that with pattern 1 that we made earlier. And let's go to the snare drum. And so we're on the snare drum. I just hit the level button, and it tells me we're at level 3. That's like the middle level. so you can hear that. But let's see. 0 is muted. Not sure why you would ever set it to that. Quietest. Level 1. Level 2. Level 3. It's a pretty wide difference between 5 and 1. Which can be quite useful. And to get out of level mode, you just hit level again. So enjoy those level differences. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you today is accent. This thing right here. It enables you to accent any one of these beats, and it's funny because it just does the whole, every instrument that happens to land on that beat, it'll just bump it up a little bit in volume. There's no way to change what instrument it's doing. It's very, what do you call it, primitive. So here we are in our first pattern. We're in step right mode. And to access accent mode, you just hold instrument like you would change here and click on that. And now you pick any of these. Like, see how the hi-hat just got louder? I'll turn that off. Quieter. So let's do hi-hat, kick drum. I can accent. I haven't used that very much because I don't think it sounds very musical, but I suppose if you're compressing the heck out of this, you could probably squeeze those together a little bit more, because to me, to my ears, it's just too extreme of a difference. But that's how you do it. Hey, we did it, I think. That's the basic programming of the Roland TR 505. I know, again, many of you had questions about it. If you have any more questions, as always, hit me up. I'm very attentive to the comments section. I hope you got value out of this. And if you didn't, I don't know what to say. Just write me an email and we'll help you get value. Okay? With that, as always, peace and be good to each other. Kill it.
Blah blah blah, yada yada yada, and you give it a give it a give it a